Welcome back, MTN Nets podcast. The Nets beat the Knicks again, ninth straight time, improved to 30-19. It was a fun game. The Nets had a 18-point lead at one point, might have got to 20, and the Knicks brought it back to like a 4-point game. And Kyrie showed up in the fourth quarter, made some big shots. Seth Curry, big shot in the corner. Joe Harris played it very well, and Nick Claxton gave us a great game overall. And the Nets now go to 3-6 without Kevin Durant. So during this podcast, I'm going to talk about, of course, the Nets-Knicks game. I want to talk about Ben Simmons. I mean, last time I talked to you guys, it was before Ben Simmons got the eye injury that turned into a knee injury, and he missed tonight's game as well. So there's a lot of bad vibes with Ben Simmons right now. We'll talk about it. And some trade stuff. I do want to make a separate trade video and actually make like a real video about that. But any trade rumors, I'll talk about them. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Leave a like and let's get into it. It's always fun, the Nets versus Knicks rivalry. Of course, the Nets have won 9 in a row, so it hasn't been much of a rivalry. But it feels like every time these teams play together, these games do come down to the wire. And for some reason, I think probably because the Nets have the superstars, that they close out these games. I remember that game last year when KD had 53. That one came down to the wire when Kyrie was in attendance, actually, in his jacket on the sitting courtside. But they got this close win tonight, and as I said, they shot the ball like crazy. I want to see their percentage overall. So from 3, the Nets shot 55%, made 22 3-pointers, and you got contributions from a lot of people in that area. 4 of 7 from 3 for Royce O'Neal and Joe Harris. 5 of 12 from Kyrie. Some of those barely rimmed out. You had 2 of 3 from Seth, who made that huge corner 3. Yuta Watanabe, who has been quite off the past, 10 games or so. He goes 3 for 3. Patty Mills made his first, but missed his next 4. 1 of 5 total. Edmund Sumner, 2 of 2. And Cam Thomas, 1 of 1. I know one of Sumner's was one of those going for a 2-for-1 situations. He shot a long one. He made it somehow. And the Cam Thomas 3 was a broken play. Cam was just there, and 1 second left on the shot clock. He put it up, and it went down. So we had some lucky shots in this game, I'm not going to lie. Of course, you can't survive trying to shoot 55% from 3 every game. But it is nice knowing that the Nets can do this, and they have been a very good shooting team throughout the year. And you even had guys like Nick Claxton, who gave you the 12 rebounds, a career high in assists with 6, 3 blocks, 13 points, 6 of 6 from the field. So his field goal percentage even goes up now. Claxton was unbelievable tonight. And Kyrie in the fourth quarter, he was amazing. I think he had 21 points in the fourth quarter. As I said, a couple of his 3-pointers rimmed out. It could have been even more. But most consecutive 30-point games in Nets history, not just Brooklyn Nets, but New Jersey/Brooklyn Nets history. Kyrie Irving has broken Kevin Durant's record in 2021. KD had 5 straight games of 30 or more points. Kyrie's now at 6 straight games of 30 or more points. So, of course, when KD first went out, the next couple of games where Kyrie played with no KD, he struggled, and he put too much on his shoulders. He admitted that. He was thinking too much. Did not play the game naturally. And then he switches that up, and Kyrie since that moment has been amazing. Ever since the fourth quarter of that, I think it was the Suns game, right? The Suns game when they made that comeback. Ever since that moment, Kyrie has been different and has been the leader of this team. It has not turned into a great record overall. As I mentioned, they're, I think, 3-6 now without KD. A couple of those West Coast losses when he was first out, they definitely should have won those games. But for the most part, I would say Kyrie has been phenomenal the past 5-6 games, whatever it's been. And a big question was the Nets' depth coming into this game. Like, who was going to step up? We know we have Kyrie playing great. We know we have Claxton playing great. But who else on this Brooklyn Nets team was going to step up? And even Seth Curry, who was out last game versus Detroit when the Nets lost that very embarrassing game. I don't think I made a video after that one, but I was just not happy with that. Anyway, all the starters were in double figures. You had Royce give you 14, Joe gave you 16, and Joe Harris, it's like back and forth every single time with him. Joe Harris made some really tough shots in this game. A lot of times you don't see Joe Harris take contested threes. He took a couple in this game, and he made them. There was a great play. It was a handoff going to his right, and going to your right as a right-handed shooter is a tough shot, and Joe Harris made a 3 going to his right. So Joe was just at a different level tonight. It was like the 2019 or 2020 or 2021 Joe Harris. He looked very good. So Joe was 6 of 9 overall, had the 16 points. Claxton had 13. Kyrie 32. Seth 14. Utah gave you the 3 threes, 9 points off the bench. Even Day'Ron Sharpe came in. He landed on his back, and I thought he was hurt, and he kept playing, so he was fine, but took a tough fall there. No foul called on that play for some reason. That was kind of confusing, but 3 offensive rebounds for Day'Ron. That was all of his rebounds. Had the 1 assist, had 6 points. So Day'Ron, he's not your answer for backup, almost said backup quarterback, backup center right now, but he's doing enough in games like this where the matchup's pretty good. Like, he can come in and give you, 5, 6, 7 minutes of decent basketball. Patty Mills started out the game nicely, made a couple of shots. His first couple of shots went in, but finished the game 3 of 7 overall. He was a +7, so I'll give him that. At least, Patty Mills did something okay in this game, but he's just not a guy you can play for an extended period of time. Edmund Sumner had his moments in the first half. He had some issues fouling, I feel like. One of his fouls was stupid. He had 3 fouls in this game, so yeah, not a good foul. By the way, fouls, I want to talk about this play. This was back in the Pistons game. I didn't talk to you guys, but the Royce O'Neal foul on the Jaden Ivey 3-pointer was one of the worst basketball IQ plays I've ever seen. Like, the guy was taking a half-court shot, and Royce O'Neal fouled him. It's one of the worst, one of the most frustrating things you'll see, because the Nets did cut that game down to like 4 points at the end. And just imagine if Royce O'Neal doesn't foul him there, the Nets maybe could have stole that game when they shouldn't have won that. But it's just like, one of the worst fouls I've ever seen. Anyway, Cam Thomas, he was okay. Didn't play much in the second half, if at all. 13 minutes, 2 of 5, 5 points. And it does annoy me that when Kyrie's off the floor, they don't play Cam Thomas every time. I think he should play every time, because we saw even at the end of the third quarter, when the Knicks started to make their comeback, there was no Cam Thomas on the floor and no Kyrie on the floor, and the Nets offense was, it was dog crap. It was bad. So I do want to see one of those guys play at least, but we don't see it for some reason. We'll see some of the team stats. The Nets only shot 1 or basically 2% better field goal wise. The Knicks were 10 of 28 from 3. Nets were 22 of 40. So that was the big difference in this game. 35% versus 55%. Nets were worse on the free throw line. Kyrie, I think, missed like 3 foul shots tonight, which you don't see often for a 90% free throw shooter. But the Knicks shot 78% at the line. Nets were 57%. Nets got out rebounded by 10. Still an issue. It is still an issue. There was a point in this game where the Knicks were getting everything they wanted inside with Julius Randle and Hartenstein, and the Nets couldn't stop it because the Nets don't have size. Anytime Claxton gets dragged out to the perimeter, the Nets are done. Like, they have nobody. It was like their second biggest player at times on the floor was Joe Harris, who's like maybe 6'5" or 6'6" at most. I think he's 6'5", right? So that was not what you want to see, and the Nets have to add some size before the deadline. There are reports that they're looking to do that, but the deadline is approaching. I think it's in like a week and a half, so you got to make something happen here. I would love to have Naz Reid. I think he'd be a great fit. I think he's from this area too, so I don't see why you wouldn't make that move if he's available. 31 assists for Brooklyn. They've had a lot of 30-plus assist games since Jacque Vaughn took over. Less with KD out, of course, but that was good to see. Here's the thing. Here's another big discrepancy. So the Nets killed them in three-point shooting, and that will win you a lot of games, but the Knicks outscored the Nets 68-34. in the paint. You can't have that. That is double their points in the paint. The Knicks had double the Nets points in the paint. That's rough. So the Nets had a 19-point lead at one point. That was their biggest lead. Knicks had a 1-point lead. And with 1 minute and 20 seconds left, the game was at 107-111. Nets had the lead. Kyrie made a big three-pointer, put them up by 7. Then Kyrie came back down next possession, made another 3, made it 117-109. with 50 seconds to go, and that pretty much ended the game, and it was awesome to see Kyrie making 2 huge threes, and I tweeted this. You can tell he loves these matchups. He loves the Nets-Knicks matchups. He grew up a Nets fan, of course. He knows about the rivalry. So you could tell Kyrie gets very hyped up for these type of matchups. And Coach K at Duke, of course, he was in attendance for this game. I'm sure that definitely motivated Kyrie as well. Like all the stars aligned for Kyrie tonight, and he showed up big time in the fourth quarter. And the big Seth Curry shot, it was 108-105. So a 3-point game, 1-possession game. And the Nets had this long possession that took like 23 seconds, so 1 second left on the shot clock. Kyrie was doubled in the left corner. He threw a cross-court pass, which is always dangerous, but threw it high, so that was good. He threw it high to Joe Harris, and Joe Harris in the air just whipped it to the corner to Seth Curry, who made a three-pointer in the corner. It feels like when the Nets need a big three-pointer, Seth Curry is there. Like he is just there in the corner. He'll make the shot. He'll stare at the opponent's bench and do his thing, and he'll walk back slowly. That's what Seth does, so he can be a killer sometimes. I do love seeing that. So yeah, it was a nice win. Of course, the Nets record overall, as I said, 30-19. They need these wins, of course, when KD is out. Their schedule going forward is not very easy, that's for sure. I mean, they're home versus the Lakers on Monday, then they're at Boston on Wednesday, versus Washington at home on Saturday, and then next Monday they're home versus LA, home versus Phoenix, home versus Chicago, home versus Philly. And then their first road game in a while will be at the Knicks on February 13th. So, yeah, I mean, you have some tough ones coming up. You do. And the Suns are now more healthy. I think Booker and Paul will be back by then. Paul's back already, I think. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. And the Clippers, they're a very hit or miss team, but they're crazy talented, as we know. Boston's very good. The Lakers, I think, have AD back by now, so they'll be good. They just got Rui Hachimura, too, from the Wizards, so they'll be even better. So, yeah, tough stretch here, and KD will not be reevaluated until I think the second week of February. So we're talking like, I don't know. I expected when he first got hurt, I expected him to make his return versus Washington on February 4th. That's not going to happen. I was very wrong about that. So it seems like maybe, I have no idea. They might wait until after the All-Star break. The All-Star break is between the February 15th and February 24th. It's between that week. So you might just wait and bring him back, until the All-Star break is over. And the first game out of the break, it's weird. It's a 10 o'clock game at Chicago. Chicago's not even on the West Coast. I don't know. It's a very weird time. But yeah, Chicago, that might be like Central Time, but still, that's a weird start time. So Friday at Chicago is the first game out of the break. Maybe that's the first time we see KD. They could bring him back before the break, and maybe they bring him back for the Nets-Knicks game on February 13th. That would give us 2 games before the All-Star break. The Nets have 9 games remaining until the All-Star break, so I'm looking at like a 9-game stretch here, most likely, without Kevin Durant. And what can they do in those 9 games against tough teams? That is the big question here. I mean, they're getting everything they possibly can out of Kyrie Irving, but it's going to be tough. You're playing tough teams. You have to win the winnable games. You have to beat Washington. You have to beat Chicago at home. Both games are at home, so you have to win those games. Have to beat the Knicks on the road next time. You got to get those type of wins. So hopefully they can do it and steal a couple against the better teams and maybe make it out of that stretch at 4-5. I'll take that right now. I'll sign up for it. You'll be, I think, 10 games over 500 at the break, which is not terrible. But at least this time, as compared to last year, the Nets are not like completely free falling. They've won 3 of their past 5 overall. As I mentioned, that game against the Pistons was disgusting. They should have won that game at home. I know it was a back-to-back and guys were out of gas in the fourth quarter, but they were just not engaged the entire game. I think Kyrie, Claxton, and Sumner were the only guys that showed up in that game. Everybody else did not want to be there, and Ben Simmons too, who we'll get to right now. So Ben Simmons, he left that game, and he was questionable for today. And I think it was Shams or Woj, one of them, tweeted out that Ben Simmons was out for this game, which is weird sometimes. Most of the times you'll see like the Nets beat writers tweet it out first, but I don't know why that happened that way. But Ben Simmons this year is averaging 7, 6, and 6 on 56% shooting. This knee issue has came up a few times already, and I think some, maybe players, but I could tell that Jacque Vaughn's getting a little frustrated. You can tell with his press conference, Jacque Vaughn after that game, he said Ben, had some knee soreness again and rolled his eyes after. Now, I don't know if that's like, by accident or if that was on purpose, but when your head coach lists out your injury and rolls his eyes, that's not a good thing. So I just, unfortunately for the Nets, there's nothing they can do with Ben Simmons. It is what it is. Like, I don't see how you trade him right now. You could, but you're also, like, if the Nets traded Ben Simmons, it would have to be like the Brock Osweiler situation, and Brock Osweiler's an NFL quarterback for those who don't know, but he signed a terrible contract, which Ben Simmons has right now, it looks like, and for the Texans to get rid of Osweiler, they had to trade assets to another team with Osweiler just to get rid of him. And I'm afraid the Nets would have to do the same thing if they got rid of Ben Simmons. Like, if you offered Ben Simmons and picks to a team just for a salary dump, like, you could do that, but the Nets are not in a position where they have a lot of assets due to the James Harden trade and even trading a first-round pick for Royce O'Neal. They don't have the assets to make a move like that. So if you're the Nets, you have to just ride it out with Ben Simmons. You have about 4 months left, 3 months left until the playoffs start. You have to hope he gets right by then. You have to make sure he's healthy. not only physically, but mentally. I'm sure these teams have, team therapists and things like that. Just figure it out. They have to get Ben Simmons right. If they can get Ben Simmons back to where he was during the win streak, where he was like, a pretty good role player, it's all right. I mean, it's not what you want, of course. We were hoping for a lot more when he came here, but he can't be at the level he's been the last couple games he played. The time he played at Philly was embarrassing. He did not even look like he wanted to shoot the ball no matter what, and even when he did, they weren't good shots. Then he came out in the third quarter in that game and was great, and he was being aggressive. He had like 12 points in the quarter, and then, sat most of the fourth quarter because you can't play him and Claxton in the fourth quarter. It's just terrible for spacing reasons and free throws. So, yeah, Ben Simmons has been very frustrating, but it just doesn't make sense. The guy's 26. He's close to a year removed from the injury, I think. So, I don't know. It just sucks. I hope he gets it back at some point, but it's just very frustrating what's going on with him right now. And as for potential trades, as I mentioned, Naz Reid is the name that keeps getting brought up. It was weird. We saw Miles Turner got extended today by the Pacers. So good for Miles Turner. He got like $30 million per year, which I was not expecting to see. But, you have guys like Naz Reid, Bojan Bogdanovic. You have Pirtle with the Spurs. You have maybe Vucevic with the Bulls. John Collins' name keeps coming up. I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go. And Sean Marks is overseas right now watching some 18-year-old kid play. I don't know why. You're near the trade deadline. Your team is, I don't know. They're going in a bad direction with Kevin Durant out, and you're overseas. I don't know. Sean Marks just pisses me off. Unfortunately, I don't have much trust in him getting the right moves done. I do think they'll do something, but it'll probably be like the smallest trade possible, and just for him to say he did something, but I don't know. I'm not expecting much at all. But of course, if something does come up, I'll come on here do a breaking news podcast and talk about it. But I'm hoping for Naz Reid. That would be the move, I think. Get Naz Reid, maybe for Cam Thomas in a second. Hopefully it's like Day'Ron in a second. That'd be beautiful, but I don't know if that'll get it done. But I kind of want this team to get more. I kind of want more than Naz Reid. That could be a bit greedy by me, but I would have loved to have had a guy like Kyle Kuzma. I've been saying that, but unfortunately it seems like Kuzma is not getting traded, and Kyle Kuzma actually responded to our owner, Joe Tsai, on Twitter and kind of made fun of him in a way. I'm pretty sure that Joe Tsai made a lacrosse reference when Kyrie did his in-and-out dribble against the Pistons, and I'm pretty sure Joe Tsai called it a cradle, which I think is a lacrosse term. I didn't play lax. I don't even know the terms, but Kyle Kuzma was like, bro, that's an in-and-out move or something like that. So probably not the best look for the Nets to trade for Kyle Kuzma. That dream is probably dead. So not going to happen, I guess, which sucks. I did want him for sure, but John Collins I don't think is the best fit for this team, but I do feel like he raises the ceiling, if that makes sense. So, if you have like a lineup of KD, Kyrie, Collins, Ben, it's not a lot of shooting, but you have a lot of good athletes, and I could see a world where that works out, especially if John Collins actually starts making his threes, which he's been bad at this year as compared to years past. But I don't know. I could see the argument for not making that move either. So I don't know. I just hope they add somebody. Naz Reid is the guy. I could take Bojan Bogdanovic too. I don't know what that trade would look like. I think they want a first rounder for him. So the Nets, I guess they could trade a second and Cam Thomas for Naz Reid and then give up their first round pick. I think it's in 2027. Their 2027 first, and I don't know who would be a good salary dump, like Patty Mills for Bojan Bogdanovic. That could be a move they want to make maybe. So I'd be okay with that. It's not like the dream, but I will, it makes the team better. It gives you a chance to at least compete for a championship this year. So I guess I'll be all right with that. But anyway, we're so down bad on Twitter that I see some Ben Simmons for D'Angelo Russell trades out there, which I love D'Angelo, but I don't even know if I would do that or not. So that's gonna do it. I will talk to you guys. Let's see when I will talk to you guys. Maybe Saturday after that Wizards game. That'll be after the Lakers, Boston, and of course Wizards game. So 3 games after that. Once again, if we beat Boston, I might come on because, I would love to beat them, but given the circumstances and this team not being at full strength, it's going to be tough, obviously. We have not, it's kind of like the Knicks and the Nets in a way. The Nets have not beaten Boston in the past 9 times, and the Knicks, of course, have not beat the Nets in the past 9 times. So it's like a triangle of losing and winning. It's weird. Anyway, so that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys next time.